meeting of the Newburgh and Larch City School District NFL and Newburgh Free Library Library Committee. I'm Chair Ray Bergarelli. We have member Mr. John DeRay. We have our clerk Matthew McCoy. We have Ben Gawker, sorry, not Glocker, Gawker, and Patty Sussman. Go ahead and hand it over to Mr. Gawker.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Bergarelli. I hope you all had a chance to review the director's report. There are just a few things that I would like to highlight. First of all, Patty, along with our community engagement team, has worked pretty hard to bring in this IREX community building grant. IREX is a global development and education organization, also works with the Walmart Foundation. And we received $12,000 from these foundations to basically kind of get to know our neighbors and to build community. So we're going to host a couple of events. We're targeting people who are new to the Newburgh community, but people who are longtime residents. We're going to have some meet and greet sessions, introduce them to the library, and find out a little bit more about what they want from the community they just moved to and what they can learn from people who have been here for years. We hope that the work and the information we glean from these sessions can be folded into our upcoming strategic plan, which we talked about at our last committee meeting. So this is an exciting initiative. We're sending out mailings to people who have recently moved into Newburgh, I think on Friday, and we're gonna have our first convening of a Meet Your Neighbors event on December 6th, and then another one on December 9th. So this is an exciting way that we're engaging with the community. The ways that we're engaging with our larger community, I want to take a second to talk about a trip I took up to Albany on October 14th, along with a handful of other librarians from across the state, as well as members of NYLA and the State Library. I provided testimony before the Assembly Standing Committee on Libraries and Education Technology. The subject was the future of libraries and our integration of electronic materials. I spoke specifically about the unreasonable prices of ebook licensing that libraries, public libraries, and school libraries for that matter, academic libraries, are being asked to accept by the publishing industry and publishing platforms. We have convened, along with Ramapo-Casco Library System Director Grace Riario and Brooklyn Public Library, a ebook working group across the state. We've been working with all 23 library systems across the state to gather data, how much we're spending on ebooks a year. The latest data we got across all library systems in the state, and this includes New York Public Library, for instance, all libraries are spending about $23 million a year just to license ebooks. And when you license an ebook, you never own it. So we're taking public money to basically rent things that will never enter the public good. This is a problem that needs to be rectified. There is legislation. It's died a couple times, both in the Senate and at the governor's desk. There's a new bill that we're working on NYLA with now to address this and regulate it from a procurement standpoint. We hope that that's successful, but it's also sort of a half measure. What we're really looking for is a pathway to ownership of these digital objects. We're looking to the future of libraries, and it might be a future that doesn't involve print far down the line, but it's something we need to anticipate, and if we're to build digital collections for the public good, we need to be able to have a pathway to ownership of these. So this is work that I've been involved in particularly, and that we're making kind of central to the collection development policy that we're working on now for the Newburgh Free Library, in which we'll also kind of roll out and model for the other 47 members in our consortium. I think it's something that's critical to the future of libraries. On a more positive note, we've also been playing host to some great programs. I just want to highlight one. We're hosting 3 paintings by local painter John F. Gould. He had 4 sons, 2 of whom were math teachers at NFA. Through our friends group, we were connected with John F. Gould's family, and they donated 3 of his paintings that have been in storage in Washington, D.C. They belong to his great-grandson, his grandson, who actually flew in from Kuwait, where he's stationed for the opening exhibit, which is called Newburgh and the Nation, the paintings of John F. Gould. We had the opening exhibit on October 16th, and we had about 100 people in attendance. It was a fantastic program, and it's going to kick off a lot of programs to celebrate the semi-quincentennial of the founding of our country, of the American Revolution. Congressman Pat Ryan's Deputy Chief of Staff was in attendance. as well as many local historians, including our own Matthew Therens, who gave some remarks about the paintings and put them in context of the Revolutionary War. It was really something to see. The paintings will be up for 2 more years, and we worked with a local design firm to do museum quality exhibition, which I think you should all take a moment to take a look at. It's really impressive. And those are the things I really wanted to highlight. This is Patty Sussman, our Assistant Director's last committee meeting. At the last meeting, I did say she will be retiring, and will be posting soon for her Assistant Director position replacement, as well as another Librarian 1 position. And that's my report. Any questions on that?
Mrs. DeRay?
In terms of your ebook licensing, although you said it's a half measure potentially, when would the time frame for that be, that it might be approved?
It really depends. It'll definitely be another one of NYLA's legislative priorities in the next legislative session. We'll see how far it gets this time. And I think the bill will have to undergo some revisions. So the bill as it stands now, it never made it out of assembly. So, but we do feel like we're encouraged that, the committee did convene a hearing to specifically address this. Even though it was more generally about the future of libraries and emerging technologies, each system, from the Tri-Li's in the city to the Buffalo Erie County Library System, all spoke about ebooks. So I do think it's getting the attention of the legislature. So we do have our New York Library Association conference. It begins today. It's in Saratoga Springs. I'll be traveling there tomorrow. I know my colleagues with the ebook working group were meeting with all the system directors actually at this moment to go over this, or hopeful to make some more headway, and I should have some more updates at that point.
Okay, as a follow-up, you mentioned $23 million statewide.
Yeah.
Do you know the impact local?
For sure. So just in our CLS, we're spending over $600,000. And a lot of this money is also money that's coming from the state. So it's Central Library Service Aid money. And we use that money to support e-pool resources. So it's something we all share in. And that's part of the system structure, is to encourage this sort of resource sharing. But I would say you're spending $600,000 for something that you never own. So to me, if you're using public money on essentially an infrastructure, would you do that with a road that you have to rebuild every 2 years? Because a lot of these ebook licenses, after 2 years, you have to rebuy it. Or after 26 checkouts, you have to rebuy it. And libraries pay 3 to 10 times as much. If you want to get, say, Stephen King's new audiobook, you're probably going to pay $100, whereas the retail price with a subscription to Audible, you're literally paying $0.
All right, so we have a vested interest.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
First off, wanted to say, very sad, very happy that you're retiring. We're sorry we're losing you, but happy that you're retiring, or happy for you that you're retiring. Going back to the ebook thing too, and in reading that, and is there been an attempt, been a way to contact maybe some of these authors? Maybe they'd be willing to donate a permanent thing, or maybe like a student writing contest to, outside the box type stuff, you know what I mean? It will be just a drop in the bucket, but maybe other authors will say, hey, I will donate this, not my whole library, but this book, or older books, you know what I mean? That maybe they're not seeing the sales on, and they wouldn't mind giving us a permanent,
Yeah, I mean, Ray, you're in the nail on the head here, because publishers and ebook vendors are really a middleman. Authors are the copyright holders, and they're the content creators. They have ultimate say over how these things are sold and used and lent. So what could happen, and there is a lot of advocacy in the space going on, is authors could insist on a contractual carve-out, where there could be sales in the private market that would, have one price attached to it, and there could be sales in the public market for public libraries that would have a different kind of use and price attached to it. So that's something we're working on now, is like, how can you advocate to authors to kind of build a coalition, not necessarily, because we don't want to be in opposition to publishers, but we just want to find a compromise, because I think a sustainable price keeps libraries alive, and libraries are a very good customer to publishers and these vendors.
Has anything like that been successful anywhere else that you know of?
So on a small scale, the Digital Public Library of America has worked with the Independent Publishers Group to create pathways to ownership. And so what you'll see is, like, there are big five publishers. So outside of the big five is the smaller indie presses that are creating these models for libraries to actually buy the digital files. Not just a perpetual license is what you can get from the big five, but actually owning the file. The other concern is, there was this sort of famous case in 2023 with the stories of Roald Dahl. If you don't own the content, you're just licensing it, that content can be changed at any time. So you might go to your, digital bookshelf and you want to read a book and the content has been changed because the publisher has deemed some of it offensive.
All right, thank you. All right, on to the next.
All right, up next, we have the Ramapo Catskill Library System budget, and this is something we do every year, just for review and for the board to approve. Each of the member libraries in RCLS are asked to review this and approve it and submit it back to the system by November 21st. Are there any questions on the budget as submitted?
Mr. Duray?
No, I reviewed it, no questions.
Yeah, no questions from me either.
All right, great. Moving on.
Point of order, so this has to go to the board meeting.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Tuesday night.
Yep. Okay.
I guess
These are things,
vote or we'll just move it up.
If you guys are both okay with it, I'll make sure,
I'm good with it, John.
I'll bring it to the board meeting for Tuesday. Or, excuse me, the board meeting's on Wednesday because we're closed on Veterans Day. Okay.
sorry. The next thing I just wanted everyone to kind of take a look at, we're looking to start a pilot program, but it's a bike lending program. And this is in partnership with the Department of Transportation. They have a sort of local transit mobility study group that's looking to connect libraries with free bikes that they will lend to the libraries, and then the libraries can make these bikes available to patrons, kind of like that Library of Thing model, where you could come in and check out a rake or check out an iPad. Here you'll be able to check out a bike. And the idea is just to make Newburgh make bikes more visible in the city in an effort to sort of, increase transit options. And especially for people who come to our library, we want to make sure they have a way to get here. If they can't get here by bus or taxi or car, maybe they could get here by bike. So this, we did have legal from the district review this. Everything looks good. It is modeled on a program they have at the Nyack Library, and Patty and I have spoken with librarians in Nyack. It seems to be really successful. So we're going to start out with just 3 bikes to lend, see how that goes. And we're going to partner with local bike shops broadly in the area to do maintenance on the bikes. Just want to make you guys aware of that, as it is something new that we're excited about.
Mr. Duray?
The success at Nyack Library is documented, something we could read?
For sure. Yeah, there are newspaper articles about the program at the Nyack Library, so I'd be happy to forward that on to you guys. Yeah.
So you said you were going to partner with a local bike shop. You already have someone picked out? Because there aren't a lot.
We don't. So that's something we have to do. And the Beacon Library is also in joining with DOT to do this too. So we don't know if it could be an opportunity to even, say, oh, there's a bike shop in Beacon that's doing it for that library, and they would come here and grab our bikes. So that is still TBD.
Okay, so
A lot of the details, and we don't even have the procedures worked out, but I did want you guys to look at these liability waivers, because that might be where there could be some exposure, just so we're all kind of on the same page.
okay, thank you.
The next thing I'd like to bring up, and this is something we'd spoken about a couple years ago, there will be a loan of a Sojourner Truth statue from SUNY New Paltz here to the Newburgh Free Library. And we do have an artwork license agreement from SUNY New Paltz. We had the district lawyer review this. Really, she had no notes. The statue will arrive in April, just prior to our family reading day, sometimes between the 8th and the 11th. I will say, we've already contacted the only living descendant of Sojourner Truth. Her name is Barbara Allen. She lives in Michigan. She's also written a children's book, and she is able to come for our opening ceremony, so that'd be pretty exciting. And so we'll have the statue, much like the Harriet Tubman statue, out on the plaza, and we'll have it until October. And we're planning a bunch of programs around the statue and around Sojourner Truth's legacy. So any questions on that?
Only a comment. I'm glad, we've discussed this a couple of years back, and I'm glad it's coming to fruition. I read the entire contract. It looks very much favorable to us in terms of no cost, basically, except preparing a spot for it.
Yeah.
So, good job. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Has there already been some sort of preliminary conversation with whomever, Buildings and Grounds about that spot? Because we want to make sure we protect that, as much as possible.
Totally, yeah, that's my next call, yeah. We got to start figuring out, because it needs to be securely bolted. It weighs 600 pounds, so.
Yeah, very excited, though, that we're able to get this opportunity.
Me too. So we have 3 policies also for your review, fewer than the 10 we we brought last time. But again, this is part of our ongoing work to review, update, and add policies where needed. Policies really haven't been reviewed since 2008. So today we're bringing a request for reconsideration of library resources. Now, this is an update of the standing policies we had, which we had a request for reconsideration of library materials, which is dealt with books, and a request for reconsideration of exhibits and displays. What we did this time is we combined those two and also added programs, and also electronic materials. So we've seen requests for reconsideration of everything in the library, so we just wanted to put it all in one spot. So we had one policy that dealt with any requests for reconsideration or complaints, and we'll have also, procedurally, one form for everyone to fill out that would then go onto a committee for review of these either programs, exhibits, displays, materials, or electronic resources. We can go one by one. So if there's any questions on the request for reconsideration one?
Mr. Ray?
Yeah.
It mentions the superintendent will establish a review committee. Since this is an established policy for at least the last 17 years, do we have this review committee in place?
Not that I know of. And, I had left the sort of procedures here that we would appeal to the superintendent in place, and that's fine by me. It can also just go through the library director, but I understand being part of the district ultimately goes to the superintendent. I would imagine that committee would be established on an ad hoc basis as needed.
Okay, thank you.
All right. The next one is photography, filming, and videography. This is a policy we have not had, and it's one that most libraries are adding these days. If there are any questions about this, there's been a question whether filming is legally allowed in a library and what kind of public entity a library is. And what this policy does that I like is it outlines that the library is a limited public forum under federal law. And due to that classification, the library prohibits photography and filming of patrons and staff when it disrupts library operations and the subjects being filmed have not given their permission. So it just makes that pretty clear in writing. So
Do we have any signage for that when you walk into the library?
we don't, and once this policy is approved, we will.
Okay, thank you.
Right now, any signage we have is in regards to if you're at a program and one of our marketing or programming librarians is there to document the program, that your photograph may be used for promotional materials. That's it. Yeah.
With everyone with a camera in their pocket,
I know.
that's like, how are you going to stop people from
Exactly.
making a TikTok video, while they're there? It's daunting,
It is. Well, it's there if you need it. And the last one is our local history collection. Local history collection, it really constitutes a separate and distinct kind of collection within our general holdings, and as such, it needs a separate and distinct collection policy. And that's what this pretends to do. We have dealt with people who have wanted to donate archival collections, old letters, files relating to their work in and around the community. So how do we handle those special materials? And this lays all of that out. If there are any questions on that, happy to answer them.
Mr. Ray?
Only a comment after reading it. It looks to me like you want to localize it to basically the city of Newburgh and the town of Newburgh.
So it maps to our service area. So we do have books in the collection that might be broader genealogies of the Hudson Valley. If they pertain in any way to Newburgh families, activities, events in Newburgh, that's within our scope. But what we don't want is, when I came in, we had a whole run of copies of Adirondack Life magazine. That's outside of our scope. And if you start to collect outside of your scope, then the rock room starts to get even more crowded than it already is. So we're just trying to put some parameters around it, so decisions around building collections is easier for staff.
It's a good idea. Thank you.
What else do we have here? Capital project updates. Okay. A little bit of this was alluded to in my director's report. On the 23rd, Patty and I were there, along with Patricia Turner from CS Arch. We had a bid opening. And this is for the expanded scope to our local history workroom project, which was a DLD construction grant from 2022. This project needs to be wrapped up by 2027. So we're taking about a third to a half of the reference workroom where staff are, basically building a wall, building a door, redoing some electrical, plumbing, a new ceiling, and it's going to be a room specifically for our local history collection. So they'll come out of the rock room where they're not climate controlled, they're underneath water pipes, and they'll be much better preserved in this special workroom. So the bids came in. We had one low bid, but they did not provide some of the necessary documents. I think we still have a question out to the lawyers whether this totally disqualifies them. So we haven't yet decided on how the bids will go. Most of the bids are coming in over what the budget was, so we're gonna have to figure out how that funding gap will be filled. And I have some questions out still to legal about that. So right now, it's still TBD, but we're hoping to move forward with that project as soon as possible. And then on October 27th, Patty and I met with about 5 or 6 people from CS Arch, and they gave us a presentation on the overall 5-phase capital plan for the total building renovation. And we gave them notes, and they're going to come back with a redesign. We're going to start that process of reopening those original plans to the redesign and begin to figure out what the way forward is, both in the timeline for that construction and in how we're going to fund that construction once we get a new cost estimate, which CS Arch is working up right now for us with Jacobson, the contractor. So that's where the capital projects stand. I'm really hopeful to solve the funding gap for this project and then come up with a plan for the bigger capital project. So, any questions on that?
Mr. Ray?
I'm good, thank you.
I had just one thing backtracking to your report. You mentioned here concerns about integrity and safety of the City Club building. How long ago was it that you reached out to the City of Newburgh for?
Yeah, I thought it was just worth putting down on paper and documenting it. It happened a couple weeks ago. One of our staff walked in and was like, I almost got hit in the head with a brick. And I was like, oh. And it fell from the City Club. So I reached out to a code compliance officer and the city engineer, and another staff member reached out to DPW. So they all were made aware of it. But, you know, the building is just falling apart, and we have kids running around all the time. God forbid anything happens to them. So I just wanted to make sure that that's noted, and I would love for there to be some kind of, I don't know.
And you said it's been a couple weeks now?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything back.
All right, thank you.
So the policies that you guys reviewed today, is the plan to bring those to the board for a first reading on Wednesday night?
That'd be great.
Okay.
Any other business, Mr. Ray? We're good, guys?
All right.
All right, adjourn.
Second.
All aye.
Aye.